So I want to start by asking you a question that sounds simple. What type of mindset do you want the people in your organizations to have? And when I say organizations, I really do mean anybody that's trying to get anything done. So it could be a corporation, a small business, or a family. And for those of you that don't think of a family as an organization, you have never tried to get 6 kids and a dog in the car at the same time for a road trip. So when we think about that critical question, what type of mindset do we want the people in our organizations to have? Many times we don't ask the question because we think we already know the answer. We want a productive mindset. We want people who get things done efficiently. We want them to prioritize effectively. And we want them to meet their goals cheerfully. And more importantly, we want them to realize that what's important and what's key is keeping their eye on their KPI. Now, for those of you that are lucky enough not to have a day full of KPIs, let me tell you what they mean. KPI stands for Key Performance Indicator. KPIs are measurable values that organizations use to track how effectively they're achieving their goals and objectives. KPIs track progress and also identify opportunities and give companies an opportunity to make decisions based on data as opposed to just how somebody might feel in a given day. Now, when we think about it, the KPI-driven productivity mindset is what most organizations want. But here's the problem. If you have a KPI-driven, productivity-focused culture, one of the possible outcomes is that you will have people that, number one, have tunnel vision, minimize risk-taking, and actually diminish the opportunity to innovate. Now, I know this as someone who works with some of the top executives and teams at some of the largest tech companies in the world. So I work with teams at Facebook and Microsoft and WhatsApp. And even in these high-performing cultures, with some of the smartest minds, highly educated, and intensely motivated, we still find that there's a fundamental problem in balancing KPI productivity with long-term innovation. So when we think about it, how can we find this balance? Well, it starts with our giving up our desire for short-term wins and giving up our desire to focus on just getting tasks complete. And it takes courage, but what's necessary is that we begin to embrace a broader format where we are focused on the CEO mindset at every level of the organization. Now, when I say organization, I'm talking about you as well. If you're trying to get anything done in the world, we're talking about you. And so when you think about the things that you want to get done in the world, where are you really focused on the short-term wins and not focused on the long-term vision? So it's important, it really is important, that we actually stop focusing on the short-term wins and the limited scope that just thinking about transactional activities give us, and begin to look at the long-term vision beyond just day-to-day operations. So when we think about that, I think about the organization that I had the privilege of being a part of, where I first discovered the value of the CEO mindset. It was my family. So I remember the first day of my allowance, and I was standing there looking at the 6 quarters that my mother put in my hand. And I said, this is not enough. I had a vision of this stereo system that had a little disco ball on the bottom that would play as the music played. And I'm going to date myself here, but I was dreaming about dancing to the Jackson 5, you know, A, B, C. It's easy. That's what I had on my mind. And I was so disappointed when I looked at these 6 quarters, because I thought, I will be 100 years old before I have enough money to buy that stereo at this pace. So I went to work. The next day, I went to the grocery store, and I asked anyone that would let me, can I push your basket to your car for $0.25? Now, I was too short to even reach in and get the groceries, but I was willing to push those carts, and I did. By the time I was 10, I had a paper route, my brother too, and I had a thriving bakery where I was making cookies and candy for the neighbors. I also had babysitting clients. Those were just a few of the revenue streams in my budding empire. Now, I did eventually get my stereo, but what was really exciting was what I learned. Every venture taught me so many amazing things about life and business. I learned the value of customer service. I learned what it meant to work hard and to adapt and innovate. I also discovered that waiting for other people to find solutions for me was not an option, that I had to find solutions for myself. And that was the beginning of me cultivating what I now call the CEO mindset. And as I grew into my own leadership as a professional, what I noticed is that the CEO mindset is not just for leaders of companies. And it's not just for people in the C-suite. All of us have access to the CEO mindset for ourselves personally and professionally. So all of this sounds interesting. So what do I mean when I say the CEO mindset? Well, to begin with, the CEO mindset is critical to navigate the challenges of leadership that we face today. The CEO mindset requires that we are long-term thinkers, strategic thinkers, and that we're looking for opportunities to take advantage of for the success of our organizations. But it's also about the people. Great CEOs understand that in order to get anything done, you have to be good at inspiring individuals, motivating diverse teams, building collaboration, and building trust. And also, you have to be great at getting people to do what they're paid to do already and to go beyond that. For people to discover as they do their job, how can they find new challenges? How can they now look to see how they can contribute to the goals and objectives of this organization? So when we think about great CEOs, it is the ability to get things done not only for yourself, but also through others. The CEO mindset demands resilience. It demands that we be adaptable. And it also means that we have to make tough decisions. And those decisions need to be grounded in integrity and accountability. So we think about the CEO mindset and how it would impact your organization. So using the CEO mindset to infiltrate every level of your organization is a game changer. Whether it's a Fortune 500 company, a tech startup, or a family. Because what it does is it has people see themselves very differently. It transforms how they see themselves. So they now see that challenges are opportunities. And leadership is not a title bestowed upon you, but it is a choice that you make to take on those roles. So let me end with this last thing. And that is, I studied the Fortune 500 CEOs as part of just something that I love to do. And there was something that I discovered that was interesting. So Forbes did a study, and as a result of that study, they found out that of the current Fortune 500 CEOs, Most of them were trained at 25 organizations in the country. Those 25 organizations have consistently created CEOs. And what I mean by that is that they create leaders that go on to become CEOs at other organizations. And what I saw is that one thing they had in common, and that is that they expect people to leave. So when you think about that, it's really counterintuitive, isn't it? But it is fundamental to creating a thriving business culture. And whether you're growing a business or growing a family, the goal should be to create an environment where the people in your organization not only do a good job for you, but get trained and get the skills to eventually leave. Now, we all know 40-year-olds that are still at home with their mother. It is not a good look. And that is not the culture you want to create for yourself and for your organizations. What you want to do is you want to create a culture where the CEO mindset is nurtured, where people are willing to bring their best and do their best. And this is what will cultivate a legacy of leaders around the world, and leaders that will build businesses and communities and families for this generation and the generation to come. Thank you.